thank you, Dr. Imai, for that academic perspective. Well, I come from the work world, so I will speak of the work world perspective. So I am an immigrant myself. I came here I came to Canada in 2000. So I know the pain of uprooting oneself in midlife and regrow those roots in a new country. And I also work in human resources, so I understand the employer's perspective. I know the pain when everybody involved has the best intention at heart. However, things don't turn out to be the way that we want to see. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to talk about one intercultural competence. That is the importance of soft skills. So we all know that there's technical skills, there are soft skills people bring to the workplace. And for this audience, we all know what soft skills are, what technical skills are. Yeah, so I won't elaborate on technical skills. On soft skills, I want to just talk a little bit. I group them into three categories in general. One is that one's ability, my ability to manage myself, time, emotion, energy, money. The second category is my ability to manage interaction with other people. So interpersonal skills, communication skills, influencing skills, those are all in the second category. Third category is my ability to navigate the system or get things done within your organization or outside of your organization. So here is a grid that I have seen in many organizations that I work with. They call it a talent management tool. So the label of two axes may be different. However, it's the same idea, low, medium, high on both axes. So what do you think a new immigrant coming to Canada first arrived or first found the first job? Where would that person be on this chart? Well, I can see myself 13 years ago, I'm there. So high technical skills, low soft skills. Why do immigrants have high technical skills? Well, because of our point system. We have allocated so many points, and most of them are related to technical skills. Why do immigrants have low soft skills? Well, soft skills are measured by cultural standards. Back home, I may have great soft skills, average soft skills, or poor soft skills. However, when I came here, overnight, people put me in this category. I did not change, but the world, the criteria people used to measure my soft skills changed. So immigrants ended up in that corner there. Well, one soft skill, for example, presentation skill. It's very important in Canada, right? We all agree. We can look at how important a soft skill is to a country by looking at how old children use that skill. So how old is a Canadian child when he or she does the first public presentation? Those with kids? Kindergarten, show and tell, right? So the child is about 4 or 5 years old. And they do that consistently in elementary school, high school, all the way to university. So there are quite a number of people who immigrated here as an adult. When did you do your first public presentation?
After university.
Yeah, answers are here from high school, university, in the workplace, after I came to Canada, or never. In my own situation, I did it when I defended my graduation thesis. So we're talking about a 15 or so, plus or minus, years of gap of immigrants not having the benefit of practicing one soft skill that's very important to succeed in Canada. So the point is that how do Canadian organizations value those two skills? If we are to assign percentages that add up to 100%, how do Canadian organizations assign percentages to these skills? Well, we know there will be a range. Well, for engineers, programmers, we may require more technical skills. Teachers, social workers may require more soft skills. However, on average, I find across different professions, different industries, it's about 50-50. There's another important factor is that when people move up the organization, which skill goes up? Soft skills, right? were to, so with that kind of split, the line of equal value in Canada is almost diagonal, meaning that these three people on the line, they bring the same value to the organization. Well, if we compare with immigrants' home country, well, most of immigrants come from more hierarchical countries. So with this audience, everybody is familiar with Hofstede's hierarchy and versus egalitarian. So many immigrants come from hierarchical countries. In those countries, if you're a manager, you just tell your employee what you do. You don't need to convince them. So not a lot of soft skills are required. Todd said, well, when you give feedback, it's just meat. No need for noodles. So the split there is more like a 90-10 split. With that split, the line of equal value is almost flat. So here's a situation just about every immigrant has run into. So he or she is competing for a job or promotion with someone who was born and educated here in Canada, or who came here earlier but adapted well. So who gets the job? B, right? Why? Because look at the requirement. B is above the line by a lot. However, how does A see the situation? In his or her mind, B doesn't even meet the requirement. So it's unfair, it's discrimination. Here's an example. I worked with a colleague who was a recent immigrant. She recruits for highly specialized engineering positions. She has an engineering degree. So she knows the job requirement and the candidate's qualification very well. So she's technically very superior. However, she comes across as very blunt. People actually don't really like to work with her, but she didn't know. So then the company decided the team needs a manager, so they promoted someone to take that position. She thinks it's going to be her job, but did she get the job? No, somebody else got the job. How does she see the situation? Well, fortunately, in this situation, the successful candidate is another ethnic minority woman. So she cannot blame it on racism or cannot blame it on sexism. But her explanation could very well be if the successful candidate is a white male. I am not saying that there's no discrimination in Canada. I'm just saying in this situation, that is not the root cause of the problem. The root cause is that she does not understand how people around her evaluate her performance. How does the organization value the different skill sets she brings to the table? So the candidate A thought, I got bypassed by a job, by a promotion. I still want to improve my employability and promotability. What does that person do? Well, they usually go back to school. They get more degrees, more certification, more designation, right? Increase the technical skills even more. Does that solve their problem? No. If they invest the same amount of time, energy, and money to go that direction, they are going to be much more valuable to the employers. However, they don't know, and they don't know what they don't know. So that's why people in this room, we all can help by explaining what is important here in Canadian organizations, what soft skills are required, and what good soft skills look like. Take the presentation example. For example, if I were a good presenter in China, does that make me a good presenter automatically here in Canada? Not necessarily, right? I have a joke to illustrate this point. So there are 5 journalists around the world who were asked to write an article of elephant mating. So the American journalist wrote how to make $1 million mating elephants. The French journalist wrote the secret love life of elephants. The German journalist wrote the psychological and sociological dynamics of elephant couples, part 1, from Karl the Great to Bismarck. The Chinese journalist wrote the Chinese were the first mating elephants in Qing Dynasty. The Canadian journalist wrote elephant mating, a federal, provincial, and municipal responsibility. So the point is, no matter what the topic is, people will approach it very differently. So immigrants need to unlearn what they already know and relearn what matters here. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to talk about what do we do. Well, awareness is most important. So we want to help immigrants to understand how important it is to develop soft skills. I'll give an example here. When I was working with this engineering company, I brought in on-site ESL classes. But guess what? People show up at the first classes and then they start to skip classes. It really pains me to see that people are not taking the benefit the employer is providing them. And they are not building on their own skills to continue to be employable and to be promotable. So Todd talked about the next steps are helping them not only to keep that job, but to get promoted, to advance their career. Communication goes beyond English skills. I'm glad to see that colleges offer workplace English and then interpersonal skills. And you recognize those are two different skills. I also want to share a story here, a success story. So when I was an HR manager, so I sit down with my managers at performance review time, go through their team, who is doing well and what kind of development they need. So there's this Chinese employee, this engineer. The manager kept telling me several times and saying, this guy is really good at communication, even though his English skills are very limited. How could those two go together? And he said, well, you know, the guy is smart, and every time we have a meeting, he brings his work, he brings his design, he writes formulas, he draws diagrams. In other words, he supplements his lack of English with technical language. So here is someone who learned to observe and to use other skills to compensate. The solutions, so for employers in the room, I want to encourage you to look for creative solutions. One size does not fit all. So at one point during one of these discussions with my managers, it came out very clear. We have a very senior Russian engineer. And he's so good. The manager describes he's among the top dozen in the world in that field. And the manager wants him to mentor other junior engineers or train them and teach them. However, he speaks with a very thick accent. He doesn't come across very easily understood. So the manager and I, we discussed, so we thought of a solution. So we hired a private tutor who comes on site to help him with the accent 3 times a week. And he loved it because he did go to English classes before, but the classroom is too big and the instructor does not have enough personal attention to him to help him. So in 3 months, the difference is audible. You can hear the difference, and he got promoted to be a manager. And he still was the company after 12 years. So I also want to talk about it takes 2 people to bridge that gap. So I want to share another story. So I work for this vice president of HR. His name is Tom. So Tom shared with me one of his previous experience when he was with another company. The company was making electronics products. So one day he was taking a walk on the shop floor. The production line was down, they were resting. So all the workers there are resting. And there's one woman there, sitting there, and reading a very thick book. So he felt very intrigued, so he went over and chatted with her and asked what she was reading. So she turned the book to him, and he saw it's Engineering Design Principles. And he goes, oh, you're reading this, you understand it? And she said, yes, I was an engineer when I was in my home country. I'm now taking courses at the community college. I want to become an engineer again. So he chatted with her a little bit more, and he went back to his office. He called a meeting of his department. He said, folks, we're paying big bucks. hiring recruiters to find engineers. They are on our floor. So I want you to come up with a plan, with a program. We will recruit from our own employees. And they had such a successful program that they recruited engineers, technicians, accountants, IT professionals from their shop floor. Not only that, the morale on the shop floor increased tremendously, because now if you work hard, you show initiative, you continue your learning, you're going to be promoted upstairs to work in the office. So I want all of us to take a minute to think about that moment. So there are two people who initiated a change. So we all can be that change agent. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. So let's all be that change agent. Okay.